Hello, YouTubes. Welcome back, campaigners. Give me a second to get my phone quiet here, and we'll get this ball rolling. If you're new to the channel, this is Campaign Terrain. I'm going to be building some stuff. It's all miniature stuff for gaming. This is a little gaming mini. That's my demonstration there. If you're not familiar with what we're about, stick around. Maybe you'll enjoy it. But this is for I'm building miniatures for a miniature terrain for tabletop gaming. And tonight I'm building a bridge that breaks down and crumbles so that you can have situational instances where it puts the characters in danger in the games. So that is what I am doing this evening. And this is the third week of that. Been working on this for a while, so it's a little bit slow going. Just don't want to cut too deep into stuff. It's a bit delicate work. So if you have been here before, welcome back, campaigners. You are now one of my campaigners, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate every single one of you that shows up. For right now, I'm about to get into this. Oops, get my little hat on because my hair is always falling in my eyes. So I have had a piece last week that needed some gluing. I have done that. I don't know if you can see this, but there's some glue. Let me switch cameras here real quick. Okay, this is where we're at here. And I didn't have a way to sit anything flat on it with like weight. So I set something flat on it and then put weight on that. This is what I was doing here. I was re-gluing the paper down here so that we could work from, didn't have any pieces peeling up and coming loose at the edges. Now this is the top of the bridge. This is going to sit like this. Today we're going to be cutting this into pieces. We're going to be doing something about this little point here that's sticking out there. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. That little nubbin right there. That's going to be going. I also have a support that fits underneath here that I got to figure out how I'm going to deal with that at all. And then how I'm going to attach the front piece back on. Now, I think what I'm going to do is this piece is going to sit here and has to sit like that in a piece. What I think I'm going to do is glue this piece to the overpass, to the overarch, so that it works like my previous one with a piece that crosses across, that's attached to the front support. That way I know it's got a base on the ground. So I'll be doing that tonight. So let's see if anybody else has joined in. Oh yeah, hey, Sim Peasant. Don't forget to make a bridge troll. Yeah, I'm not big on the minis, but I've probably got a troll somewhere I could use for that. Yeah, but I've got lots of bridges. I only have a couple of trolls, so some of my bridges are going. No one's collecting the proper trolls. Okay, I'll stop. For anybody who's just catching in, that's Sim Peasant. Also known as Jess. She has a channel. She plays lots of really chill games like Palia and some Disney stuff. No real shoot 'em ups, I don't think. Unless you count Alice. Alice is pretty shoot 'em up. So go watch her channel, but not right now. Right now we're doing this. Okay, so I can set this out of the way and switch this back over here. All right, and up just a little. There we go. Okay, now here's where we're working. Put the glue out of the way. Knives. This is all about knives until we get to that point later. So let's see. Oh yeah, put my other phone down there. Okay, all my phones are away. I am seated. I have tea. Tea is good. Y'all probably loved hearing me drink that. Yeah. Okay, now on the previous bridge, I have a piece that's got a bit of the back of the overhang. I don't have one of these on this one because of just the way it got cut. So this piece isn't going to be there. But you can see that these are basically the same, just done at different times, so they came out a little different. This one has the, I don't know what that piece would be called. Piece in between the pillars. It's not the keystone. It touches both keystones. But in this one, I had cut it to the right, and I don't know which way I want to do it on this one. I'm going to have to take a look here and see which way I think it's going to support. Now, this one happens to support this way. So it's really good that it's on the right, because that way this brick is supported here, and this brick, or tile technically, is supported back here. But I don't have that support at the back on this one. So Tim Peasant says that, yeah, Alice is not as much, is a bit of a shoot 'em up, not her favorite kind of game. Good for the end of the year gaming. Yep, good. Nice to have a change up every once in a while. Okay, right now working on a Sims 4 project. Been working on a month or two now. That's all right. We know how that goes. I've been working on the same very short video about making dinghy boats for longer than the plumbing project was in my way. That makes me feel sad. So, yeah. Okay, so on this one, I don't think it really matters which way I go on this. So I think what I will do is, instead of cutting up to here and then cutting here, I think I will come up here all the way across and then cut in the middle, which I may have done on the other one. I did on the other one. So I'm going to do that again. And then both of these, you can tell by where the white part is, where this black paper has ripped away, that both of those will be supported on that piece. So I don't want to cut this piece in half, so I got to pick one side or the other, but either way, I'm coming straight between these two bricks and straight between these two rows of tiles. So, yeah. I keep showing it like you can see it, and you can't see from here. Let me try that again. There we go. Okay, so this part will be easy. This is just foam core, and the paper's ripped off the back, so this is just foam core, and so it would be really easy for the knife to get away from me and get wonky and cut into bricks that I don't want it to. So this is simple, but I wouldn't say it's easy. I did say it's easy, but I don't mean it's easy. I mean it's simple. I just need to go down between between these row, English cross, between this row of tiles. And I'm going to do that in little tiny cuts, just so I don't let it get away from me. Okay. Okay, that's to the front. And then I want to go down between these two bricks here. Oh, I'd already done that part. That part had already been done, which is good because it had a hot glue between it, which means it would have been more difficult. Okay, so now I just have to decide if I want to go left or right. I think I'm going to go right for two reasons. One, it already has a wider gap here. It'll just be easier to, I'm already going to have to hide some of that anyway, so it's just going to be easier to use that. Plus, the little pointy tips here, this one's less pointy, so it will be less of a problem in the long run. So I'm going to go to the right again, just like I did on the first one. Now, this is going to be a harder cut to make and a more difficult cut to make. It's going to be harder because there's cardboard at the back, so I'm going to have to be cutting through that. Plus, there's hot glue and white glue in there, so that's going to be a harder cut. Plus, it's at an angle and a curve. So yeah, this will be fun. That's all air quotes. Fun. All right. Yeah. Well, what's funny is the way you spelled that. That's dingy. That means they're dirty. And I do put a wash on them so they don't look new. So they are actually dingy dinghies. That's fun to type. Also fun to try to say 20 times in a row while I was trying to record this video. So I gave up on that, and I'm actually going to be doing that as a with a voiceover. I may say dingy dinghies, but I won't do it a bunch of times in a row like I did in there. Wow, this really, the problem isn't the cutting through the cardboard, and the problem isn't the cutting the curve. The problem is cutting the cardboard through the curve. So it's just a matter of slow going. And I don't know if you can even see what I'm doing there, but let's go ahead and... That glue is fighting me. There is hot glue in between these layers of, or white glue or something in between those layers of card back there. And it's, this is not the easiest cut I've ever made. I'm going to cut some of this up, just slice through it the back, just because that way, no matter which way my knife wants to go through it, it'll be easier. Okay. There we go. Oop. And dang it, I just stabbed that brick. But that's all right. As I said in the previous 2 weeks, I am definitely going to have to be touching up the paint. So I'm also cutting into the edge of that stone, which I want to do as little as possible, because the more little tiny spots I have to touch up, the more it might show, because it doesn't look like it, but there's like 5 layers of paint on here. There's a base coat, then there's a gray undercoat, then there's a lighter or gray underbrushing, then there's a lighter gray, then there's a wash, and then there was, I don't think I highlighted this. I didn't highlight this. Anyway, so I guess there's only 4 layers of paint. Okay, so come on. Oh, see? Blade got away from me and cut in a straight line, and now I have a gap in this rock. So, you know the old saying, I make mistakes, so you don't have to. Yeah, I firmly believe that. However, that kind of mistake, yeah, you're going to make those too. Just as a warning, that's a thing that happens. Sometimes stuff gets away from us. Okay, now, here, it's getting really annoying, because between here and here, I have a layer of card, a layer of hot glue, and a layer of foam core. And I'm having to go through that blind cut into here as the blade enters back here. And then I have to not come out through these top bricks over here. So, yeah. This is why I should have built this. I didn't think to when I first designed these. I should have built these as from the ground up to be breakdowns, but didn't think that far ahead. Okay, okay, I've cut into the paper. That'll make this a little easier. All right. There we go. There we go. That is everything I need to do on that one. Okay, now this needs to come across that entire brick. That should, air quotes again for should, be fairly easy. However, this needs to stay attached to this, which means I'm only cutting halfway under this brick. Let me show you what I mean on the other one. I need this piece to fit in like that, so it will sort of support this brick. So, yeah. Just being careful and going only halfway through. So this first layer, this is all hot glue. Everything in this groove is hot glue. There's nothing else in it. So this is not an easy cut. So, who else we got? Hey, Lisa. Okay, Lisa's here. This was Lisa's idea. Lisa's like, show us how you did the breakdown. So these 3 weeks, this has been Lisa's thing. Let me toss some things up here on the screen real quick. Where is it? There it is. These are my patrons. So I do have a Patreon. Links in the description if you want to support me. I would really, really, really appreciate it. But I do have 3 patrons right now. One is Dungeon Matron. That's Lisa. Dungeon Matron has her own Discord where a lot of us go and hang out and talk about exactly these sorts of crafts and such. Minis, terrain, and gaming, all. She does not have a online presence other than that right now. She may at some point, but right now it's just the Discord, but it's a fun place to hang out and talk. So again, if you want a link to Dungeon Matron's Discord, go to my Discord, links in the description, and then message me, and I will give you a link to her Discord. Okay. I got a care package from Lisa this week. In fact, let me hide the address. You don't see it, but it's a sturdy little box. I like this box. Oh, hold on. Let me disappear those for a second. Okay. And Lisa was getting rid of some crafty stuff and asked if anybody wanted it. And I said that yes, I wanted the fidget spinners. I have a million fidget spinners, but most of mine don't have the extra swivels at the edges. I am going to use the swivels for some future project. I have no idea what, where I will actually be using them as bearings. I will be using them to make some type of axle or spindle that rolls in them. So very happy with those. In addition to that, also sent me 3 little doors, which are a little bigger than I normally use doors, but they are still close enough and they are perfectly usable, and I will totally use them, but I have no idea what. Now, they are super adorable and have this little heart cut in them. And the first thought is, oh, well, that's obviously like a outhouse door or something like that, but I think I'm going to use it as a peephole more than a vent hole, and I will probably end up putting these on small little cottages, and not my city builds, but like my cottage builds. So these will get put to super good use, and I super appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you very much. Okay, so back to the other 2 patrons. I also have Patrick Walther. We were joking, so I actually don't know if he wants me to tell you that he has a YouTube channel as well, if he's watching, or if he comes into and lets me know. From now on, I'll tell you. But he does have a YouTube channel, but he has been a long-time supporter of the channel as well, and I super appreciate that help. Digital Calibrator lives not too far from me and occasionally comes over and helps me with things. Between Lisa sending me a couple of things and DC helping me with some actual configurations of my broadcast software, that's why you can hear and see some of this stuff so well. That's why I'm doing, I hope, better with my lighting and stuff like that. And that's all down to DC and Dungeon Matron. So thanks to both of them and to Patrick. So, and to you when you sign up as one of my one of my patrons. Yes. Okay, that's about as shameless as my plugs get. Okay. Now back to where we were. Let's see. Read the screen. Outhouse. Lol. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand these people that like keep everything secret. They want to keep everything close to the chest. I'm like, we're all in this big dorky geeky hobby together. Share everything. Okay. So cutting through glue without bending the back part. This is fun. Okay. Now, we have cut all the way through this middle to the top of this stone. So once I get through the glue that's down here holding this thing on, it should come loose. I've already cut through the other parts of it. Nope, there's still a part back there. Let's get that. Oh, for anybody who was paying attention last night when I was babbling on my Discord, the tornadoes missed my house by about 2 miles. I have not left the house today, so I have no idea, but I have seen some footage. There was a gas station that was leveled like 2 miles from here. But all we got was about 85-mile-an-hour winds, which sounds really bad, but apparently it's with all the trees we've got in this subdivision and everything like that, it actually wasn't that bad. So if anybody was watching that last night and was worried about me, I am fine. I feel bad for anybody who lost their home or anything. I haven't seen anything like that. So far, I've only seen that one gas station was messed up and a couple other commercial things around it. And I think that's probably exactly what I just said. That probably has to do with they didn't have any trees around because it's a commercial area or retail area or whatever. So, but still, you don't want to lose your gas station. So I feel bad for all those people. Come on, you can do it. I can hear that it's only paper ripping. So let's go. Okay, almost. I ripped another piece I'm gonna have to glue down, but that is okay. In the cosmic scope of things, that is a tiny problem to have. Okay, so this is a little sharp here, so what we are going to do is take just that little bit of paper off of the end. There we go. Now that should fit right back in there. It does. Now I could get rid of this hot glue that's in here in this gap, but honestly, it's going to make the whole thing fit more snugly when I'm done, so I'm just going to paint over that. Now this piece that's sticking up here and is going to be in everybody's way every time, it woke up today and decided it was going to be everybody's problem, so it's got to go. So that one's going to go. Oh, actually, let me save that in my rubble pile. Okay, so now, what's the next problem? Oh, the next problem is how I'm going to deal with this little nubby bit here, because it's bigger than that piece I just cut off. Okay, first things first, I need to re-glue this. I'm going to use the tacky glue, which I don't have any right here, because it dries faster than the white glue. White glue is the bane of my gluing existence. I can't stand the stuff. Some stuff it's perfect for and you have to use it. I understand that. But I don't like, it's always humid here where I'm at, and I don't like waiting a week for stuff to dry. That's not always the case, but sometimes it has been literally a week. And I'm not a fan of that. That's not my favorite. So instead, we are going to use, and I'm going to pronounce it correctly, Aleene's. That's Aleen, not Eileen, not Aileen. That is Aleene's. It's not on the quiz. I just was proud of myself when I realized that's how it was pronounced. Not a big deal. Tacky glue, the America's favorite. I'm not sure there is another tacky glue, so I guess that's, a favorite of one. But it is really good stuff. So, okay, so all I did was put a little drop under that, smeared around with my finger to get it flat, and then mush that back into place. There's no purpose to that. I just didn't want to rip it off. I just wanted to stay. So, okay. Now, Aleene's doesn't like to immediately come out of the tube, so you have to keep it upside down. So I have the patented glue holder upper. No stealing. You can't steal this idea. It's made out of an ibuprofen bottle. Don't steal that idea. I'm watching you. Okay. Yeah, St. Louis, I heard, got hit bad. Some of the places around here to the west of me did, in the next county over, but it's more rural, so a lot more open, like fields and stuff for the winds to build up in. I hear that also probably some parts of Atlanta proper got hit, but I haven't seen that on the news. I haven't watched the news today. Once it went past my house, and I got done with my power outage last night, I was like, nah, I'm going to bed. That was after midnight, so. Okay, so yeah, I like that, and that's going to fit together really well. That'll stay even as it is. Now, not if you put like minis and stuff on it, but for now, that's good. So we're good with that. Leave that there. Next, I know that this piece needs to attach here, and it needs to line back up with where it was originally. I kind of wish I hadn't actually cut it, but that will be my support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on this piece because it's narrower, and that way I won't have glue where I don't need it. So then I will those two pieces together. And I think I'm also going to put a piece of paper or foam across here just to give a lateral support to that. So let me go ahead and do that. I think tacky glue is going to be fine for that. This one you could do with tacky glue or regular white glue. It wouldn't really matter because they're basically the same thing, just one's thicker, one's got less moisture in it. So every place that there's no paint, I know fits into this piece. So I'm just going to glue that up. Rather a lot of glue. Try not to squish it. Oh no, this is going to be totally hidden. So yeah, even if there's squeeze out, it's not going to matter. Look, I called it by the right name. I didn't even call it squidge. I love it. I love the word squidge. Yeah, when the glue squidges out. Yeah, but I like the word. All right. Yeah. Okay, a little bit more right down in there, just cause. Okay, now that wedge that firmly in there so we get a good connection, and that ought to hold. Now, that means I am not getting to any painting tonight because this won't be dry in time. So, wow, that is a secure grip already with that. I guess I'm not going to need to put anything else across it, but I may still do that just because I like to build the overkill. Okay, so this piece here is going to be a support right here, and it will just be sitting there. The only thing keeping it there is the weight of the other two pieces sitting on top of it. So it will both support them and they will support it, and it all fits together really well. And that way, when you go, if you have it tumble down in the middle of a game, all you have to do is, hold on, with the support beam being what it is, you can then take that, and it looks like a regular bridge, and you could use it as a regular bridge. You don't have to have it be a tumble down part, but if you situate it just right, your players are never going to see that there's anything wrong with that. And then you can have them roll for perception or roll to dodge or whichever when you when they get across it or try to get across it. And then when you want it to fall, you can take the cross piece out that supports it, and then just push the other two pieces down and have it tumble down and collapse. And you can have as much of it stay up there as you want. Like if you want to make it difficult terrain, you can situate it like that. But if you want to make it impassable terrain, then knock it the rest of the way out. Toss that piece, and then that piece, and then that piece, and it makes it look like it collapsed just as they got there, or whichever. Now, somebody asked me, they said, well, what kind of stuff would you even use it for? I'm like, okay. You could have it as they're on it. It could collapse and them not expect it. You could have it, you could say that, well, as long as they don't weigh above a certain amount, it's fine. You know, 1,000 people have kind of come across this thing this month and it's all been fine. But if your guy's an ogre or a troll or something, that's going to be a problem. Or you could say it gets blasted with magic, or you could say they blast it with magic behind them to try to, you could say, you notice that the bridge actually appears a bit weak and decrepit, and they may think to hit it with like a smite or a magic missile or something and knock it down so that things that are pursuing them can't get after them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So all sorts of different stuff you can do with that. Now, okay, what was next? Okay, that's gluing. We'll just set that to the side. This is done. That needs painting, and then it's basically ready. So we'll just set that to the side. And that leaves this little pointy bit here. And if I put those bricks there, see how this thing keeps just being in my way? I'm trying to get this to slide straight in that way. So I want this to be essentially gone, but I don't want it to leave a gaping hole right here. So I'm going to, the place where I keep trying to mess with this, and it keeps bending at a certain spot. And I think I'm just going to flat out lop it off right there. And just have done with it. Okay, put that in my rubble bin. I save all these little pieces, probably overkill, but I save all these, and they end up being rubble in like the corners of buildings and stuff. I'll just put glue in a corner and then sprinkle some of this in, and then paint over with a base coat so that you can't tell that it's not, you can't tell that it's foam or whatever. And then I'll hit it with some sand or some gravel, and it all becomes rubble in the corners. I really don't like, we don't have a green hobby, and I don't like throwing so much stuff away. So I try to recycle as much as possible and reuse things when I can. So, okay, so I think that's going to be a much better fit right there with that piece gone. Now that means that I will have to paint more of this, but that is okay. And then, actually it's easier if you put this one in first. And then this one, because this key piece has to fit into that slot, so it makes it a little easier to put the left one on second. Moving right to left, it's going to mess with any Americans, but we do everything left to right. But Okay, so that's basically done, except for this piece drying and repainting. So thanks, good night. No, I can stick around if anybody wants to stay and talk, but I don't have anything specific to talk about. I can talk about upcoming projects. I can talk about any questions anybody has about crafting. I have et cetera, et cetera. Hey, Unique Wargaming. Wow, you were up late, John. That's John from Unique Wargaming. He builds terrain as well, more industrial stuff. My stuff's all medieval and ancient, and his tends to be more Warhammer 40K stuff. He also paints. Oh my God, you put out so many videos, dude. What do you put out? Like 19 videos a week, man? So John puts out a Wednesday Wargaming question and answer. Wednesday Warhammer question and answer, excuse me. Talks about upcoming armies, talks about stuff he's gotten in the magazines, talks about things. And then there's always a choice of which minis he's going to paint next. Then he takes the results from that poll of just people commenting in the comments, and then the next week he paints that mini, and then he also does battle reports, and then also sometimes does terrain builds. So yeah, John puts out all of the videos. So go watch that. Great stuff. So it's the same with me, waiting for filler to dry. Sometimes it takes 4 to 5 days. Yeah, filler, what we call spackle over here in America. Yeah, it's the same stuff. It's water-based polymer fiber, and it can take forever. Now, I have a cheat because here in the States, we have the pink stuff that when it's dry, it turns white. So I know when it's dry. But yeah, it can take a while as well. And I used to also use, and I've got some left, but I used to also use white, like tub caulking, the stuff that comes in the squeeze tube, not the big gun. And I used to use that as glue for gluing things on as well. But again, it can take forever to dry. So yeah, good point. Dungeon Matron, you're stealing stealing my, made out of an ibuprofen cup. I just took an X-Acto knife and cut it around this way. I sanded a little, filed it a little, and then I set it like this, and then I patented it. But no stealing it. No taking my patented. You'll never figure out how the technology works. Grr. That's my glue holder upper. Yes. Am I submitting anything for Carl's challenge next Sunday? For those of you who don't know, that's a channel called Carl Making Stuff. He has a very vibrant community. He does interviews generally once a week, sometimes not every time, on Sundays. He had one today. I missed it for reasons, but in addition to the interviews, he also has a very vibrant, he also does builds as well on his channel, terrain builds. And I think he also does, yeah, he's done modeling and stuff with like green stuff to make minis and stuff as well. In addition, he does challenges on the Discord. He's got a very vibrant Discord as well. And there is a challenge coming up in 14 days on the 30th of this month, 2 weeks from now. You have to get your submissions in, and it's for Don't Make It Weird. So anything that's just a build. No ghosts, no goblins, no creepy crawlies, no, animatronic, blah, blah, if it's actually animatronic, that's badass. But if you're building like a creature that would be like a golem or something, not any of that stuff. It's just normal stuff. This is the Don't Make It Weird challenge. This bridge is one of the things I'm submitting. I build way too much stuff. I have lots of stuff. I feel bad because now that I have found out that even if I've shown pictures before, I'm allowed to submit it. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to submit like 100 things. I'm not. I've limited myself to 12 things and no more than 1 picture each. Maybe for this, because it has 2 stages of the falling down and standing up. But generally speaking, it's me, 1 picture each. And so that's me. But I'm going to put in like 12 things. So maybe. I got my dinghies in there. I'm going to have a standing stone with the mushrooms on it. I'm going to have some standing walls that are made with that foam that nobody in America likes to use, the PIR that we get, which is the thin stuff with all the bubbles in it. It's not the nice, smooth, glorious stuff like they have in the UK. And I've got a couple of wall ruins made out of that. A couple other things I'm going to submit. So, yeah, I've got things like that. Yeah, no, it's 2 weeks. And I think it's the 30th, Lisa. So I think you've got 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I keep Wait. That's not what they mean when they say mic drop. Okay, this is going to be really loud, and I apologize. Okay, sorry about that. I had to reattach it to my glasses. So, John, yes, you have a very hectic schedule. Oh my God, brother, you have no, yeah, you amaze me. You put out, like, sometimes I have seen you have put out in 2 weeks, you put out 7 videos. You put out 4 videos 1 week and 3 the next. I was just, man, ow. But I am, for John, you may not know, but anybody who's been watching my Discord knows, I have been having not me personally, there's 3 of us that live in the house. We have been having absolute headaches with the plumbers for 7 months. I should let it go. I'm still being bitter, but they're done now. Everything's done. My only complaint now is that my shower hurts because there's too much pressure, but that's a small thing to pay for. But I can wash my hands in the basement again because they've got water down here again, which was a thing for 3 or 4 weeks. I've got, there didn't used to be water to the dishwasher, so everything had to be done by hand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, all that's ironed out. And because of that, I had to move a bunch of my stuff out of their way so they could get to the pipes down here in the basement. It's one of the unfortunate things of being down here in a basement. So there's pipes running right there. I can see some of them, etc. So I had to move things and kind of squish things together. So I've got piles of things that haven't been spread back out yet to where I can get to them. Now that I can, I have several videos coming out. I don't remember. I've got a list somewhere. It's like 6 or 7 that are going to be like one after another. One is my dinghy build video. One is my repairing my piers that my dinghy's moor to video. And I've got one on, the little mushrooms I was talking about. And the other thing, making those, that's going to be a super short build because it literally involves a hot gun and a hot glue gun and the fidget popper things with the little domes because the glue doesn't stick to it. So you can make little mushroom caps. So that'll be super simple. So I'm going to have dinghies, piers, mushrooms, several other things that are planning on coming right up. So thank you for asking, John. Right, exactly. High pressure showers are great. Who needs skin? It's fine for everything except my face. It just, I have to hold I've got one of the shower heads on a hose and I'm like, oh my God, and my arm's not long enough. Yeah. So, and they changed the fixtures. They didn't give us any choice in that. They just put in new fixtures. I'm like, okay, but there's no way to change the pressure. They're either barely on and blasting at cold or all the way up and blasting at boil your skin off. I'm glad for the heat. Heat's good. We have a business that runs out of here that requires really, really hot water. So primo there, and I can adjust anywhere in there. That's all fine. But it doesn't matter if it's barely on frost cold or all the way up on blistering hot. It scrapes my skin off. Probably exfoliates without even needing a washcloth or brush. But anyway, enough about my personal grooming habits. So yes, here in the basement. I know I'm a little washed out now, or at least it looks like it on that screen. Less so on that screen. So I've boosted my lights since last week. All I've done is not turn them down. Somebody said last week it was still a little dim. The problem is I do have other lights, but there's twofold problem with that. One, the higher frequency the light pitch, the colder it looks, the chillier it looks. It's a thing. It's called Kelvin light ambient, but skip it. But everything I've got is in that cold range because it's mostly for normal lighting situations. It's not for in here. These lights are a little bit yellow, so I like them. They're a little bit warmer. This one is set. I can set it to a warmer color or a colder color, and I always leave it on the warm color. That one, there's a little ring around the camera that you're looking at me from, and I can't adjust that. I can only adjust that on low, medium, and high or off. These, I didn't turn down this week. I just left them full bore. So if it looks good, let me know. If it's too glary, let me know. And there's about 8 adjustments between there. So I can fiddle with those. The problem I have is that what I really want in order to be really able to see like I like to see on the tabletop, I like this light. And it's like 9,000 lumens. So it's crazy. So I can't use it on camera. It's blinding. And I've got another one behind the camera that throws a weird distortion fog when I turn it on. That's the same issue as this. It's super duper bright. So let me know how the lighting's doing. I know that this one I've got pretty good. The work cam right here. This looks really good to me. I like this. I've watched all of my videos for the last several weeks. Those have been really good. And then the top one, this one is a crummy cam. This is my cheapest camera. And it is not software focusable. I can't go into my broadcasting and zoomable, excuse me. It has an autofocus and stuff like that, but I can't go into the software and zoom in so you're only getting like this much space. I don't have that option with this camera. It's got it allegedly has an autofocus. There it goes. And it went immediately back out of focus. Great, love that. Okay, so yeah, let me know if the cameras are looking good. Let me know if I'm sounding good in general, not specifically the second. Right now, I know everything's functional. So, I don't necessarily have anything else to work on this second. I'm going to sit here and sip tea. I don't know. Okay, tea has been sipped. Do I trust this glue yet? Heck no. I can feel that moving. Okay, that's going to be fine once it hardens up and does what it does. For those who don't know, PVA glue, which comes in about 20 different kinds. It's called PVA glue or wood glue or school glue or children's glue or white glue or whatever. In America, we have the brand called Elmer's Glue All. And all of those have the same chemical in them. It's polyvinyl acetate. And it flows out, but it likes to bond to itself. So as the moisture disappears, it seizes up and it holds things together. That's how it works. It gets into the little pores and stuff in, like, I'm now a layer of glue. These are getting into the pores on the top piece. These are getting into the pores on the top piece, on the bottom piece. And as they dry, they tighten together. And that is exactly how that glue works. So this will be great once it's dry, which may be next week. So this one, I don't have to glue anything. I already glued that one piece, but it's way hidden underneath, so I don't really care about it. So I could, I guess, start painting, but I wasn't really going to do that on live video because number one thing that's boring to watch is paint drying. Number two is grass growing. And third is people putting the paint on in the first place. Now, if I was going to talk about all the way I'm doing it and all that, I guess I could do that. Let me show you how I'm touching things up. Let me go ahead. I'm going to bore y'all with my painting. Let me find a small brush. There we go. This is not a particularly fine brush. This is actually was not particularly fine to begin with. This was one of those ones that's got the tip of a brush. The part that you paint with is called the toe. And this toe on this brush is at an angle. And also this is an old brush, and I mean old brush that I've used for all sorts of stuff. So that bristle set is messed up, but it's perfect for getting random drops of touch-up paints and things like that. It's literally like, this is my favorite brush for that. So, do you like terrain being painted? Lisa says, Dungeon Matron says that she likes seeing terrain painted. And I can understand that. If you're learning the techniques and things like that, I can understand it. But if it's just touch-ups, I don't know. But that's what I'm doing anyway, so you're stuck with it. You can either stop watching now. Please don't stop watching now. Please keep watching. Or you can just realize that I'm going to be kind of boring and just rattling for a second. If anybody wants to discuss anything about crafting or anything, please hit me up in the comments and I will happily have that conversation with you. Because right now I am literally just painting and it is sort of mindless monotony. So I can multitask that. All right, so here's the things I'm going to have to cover. I'm going to have to cover this entire edge because the moment you pull these loose, that's going to be visible. I'm probably going to cover these parts underneath just because if this falls loose and it falls like that, there's going to be less loss of immersion if these are dark colored and hidden. So I'm going to color all of these. And there's still glue stringers below that. I'm going to cover all of these down here. Now, I wouldn't expect that you'd actually flip the entire bridge, so I'm not going to bother painting this bottom that I missed the first time. So, but all these places like this, they're going to get hit with my base coat, and then later on, there's another piece I need to glue. I'm actually just going to do that with my paint. Paint has PVA in it. By the way, I used to make this stuff called my boom. Boom is, I called it that because that's when boom, that's when everything happens. For me, once you get a base coat on it, you got 27 different colors of foam and paper and wood and etc. And once you get the base coat on it, it's one color. That's when it really starts to look like it's coming together for me. So I call that my boom moment, because it's like boom, there it is. And my boom paint, my thing has always been part PVA and part acrylic paint and maybe some water to thin it. But now I use house paint, because I have found that house paint is cheaper per ounce and has PVA in it. So both, it's one-stop shopping, literally shopping. Okay, so I have different colors of my boom for different things. Obviously, this isn't grass or dirt or anything like that, so I'm going to use the gray for the stone. I never base anything in black. Learned that in 7th grade art class. Nothing in nature is black. Don't base in black. I know a million other people say, oh, no, you base. No, I don't do it. I'm not telling you not to. Just saying I don't. I base in gray or browns or greens, or it's something strange like fey texture. I will sometimes base in blues or purples. Occasionally, I think I may have done a pink once as well for like a underdarky sort of thing. So, but yeah. But generally, for me, it's gray, brown, or green. While we're talking about colors found in nature, I also don't paint trees brown. I sometimes overbrush them in brown, but trees are gray, not brown. Generally. And some are browner than others. So yeah, I'm just touching up all of the spots. Anywhere where you can see foam or cardboard, I am hitting with my base coat here, and then I'll go through with a lighter color later. I'll do that off camera. I'm coming back to this thing next week just to paint light gray at you. But I don't remember if I was talking about colors in nature or if I was talking about paint. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just touching up any place where there's white foam or clearly corrugated colored brown paper. And I hope I'm doing that on camera. Oh, that glare is horrible. That's only because the paint's wet and shiny. Yes, I will. Dungeon Matron asked, will I seal this? Yes, I absolutely will. My sealant is like Bill from Wylock. Bill, who is Wylock, says he calls X2 Gray Primer God's gift to crafting. I don't typically spray paint primer because I have too much foam that might melt. But when I do, that is a good one. But for the clear coat, yes, I will spray these with the X2. They've got one that's called like Super Matte or Ultra Matte or something like that. But yes, I would be spraying these with the X2 clear coat. And you don't, just in case there's any exposed foam that might get hit with that, since it can melt the foam a bit, I will be doing that in a I'll be doing that outside first off, and then I'll be doing it from far enough away that the paint is barely hitting the item, or the clear coat is barely hitting the item, so that it's there's no too much on top of that. That's all right. There's not any accelerant left in it, so it's just paint hitting. That way I will have to worry less about melting the foam. So to answer your question with the easy way, yes. The long way is I will be using the matte finish spray, and I like X2. Not sponsored, but I'm open. Hit me up. They don't care about me. They make millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. They're not caring about somebody that's got 1,500 viewers. But I'm here if you're asking. All right. Any other questions? Y'all just watch me paint, because I can paint, but I have a tendency when there's no questions on the screen, I lapse into quietude, and y'all don't want to just watch me breathe at you. I mean, some people do. I got a friend that does the OF, and she says that no matter what you do, somebody's into it. Somebody's really, really into it. But that just seems weird, and I don't want to do that. Okay, just in case, we're gonna touch up some spots that I missed before. Just with the base, I'm not gonna be going back over these. Don't need you. Go away. You. Nope. It always helps to paint from different angles. I totally missed a spot that I've already gone past. I don't know if you see that, but I completely missed this side of it over here. See, I did it again. I just said I'm going to lapse into quietude and not be talking and just bore y'all, and here I did immediately afterwards. Lapse straight into not talking. Learn from your own mistakes, Cross. Oh. Wasn't paying attention and touched a wet paint spot. That's not a big deal as long as I didn't get it smeared around too much. Oops, there's a little piece of bone. Okay. Okay, that's going to need tweezers, or in this case, tiny needle nose. I don't know if you can see it, but there's just a little tiny speck of foam that's coming off of this piece, and I'm going to peel it so that it doesn't eventually like catch on something and like rip the paper. Okay, that's gone. One more hot glue strand from back when I first built this. If you ever want to get rid of these hot glue strands and you haven't painted over them yet or anything, the easy way is to take a hot gun, like just your basic heat gun, or even a kind of hot hair dryer, and go over the whole piece, and all those little wisps and ropes just kind of pull themselves up and they disappear. So a lot of people are like, oh, there's all this hot glue all over my stuff and you have to pick it up. You don't have to pick it up. You can just hit it with a heat gun, and just be careful not to melt any foam with your heat gun. Wow, there are a lot of spots in here that are just fiddly. Okay. Okay, two more here and here. And then I'm going to come across this bottom just because why not? I got the paint and the brush ready. Not that this is ever going to matter. But, as well. By having that nasty old brush that only gets used for this type of stuff is great, because this way, if I mush it in there and I bend the bristles all wonky and funky, who cares? You've ruined the brush. No, I haven't. I just made it better. I'll use it next time the same way. Everybody always asks me about the water effects. No, two reasons. One, that's almost a hobby into itself. I literally don't really have any place to keep the 2-part epoxies and stuff like that. So I just don't have any plans for that right now. I don't have the space, and I don't have the money. I can't afford epoxies and silicones and all that stuff. So no, unfortunately. I already have it, so I might use some of that epoxy in the syringe to do some small things like fountains or something. But other than that, I have no plans to like make a waterfall or anything. For now, my oceanside setting uses a blue piece of fabric. That's ocean, or a blue piece of poster board actually. And that's as watery as I get right now. I would love to. I am very much a water guy. I like boats. I grew up on stories of captains and stuff like that. For those of you who are in the know about Narnia, my favorite book is Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which is all about being on a boat, ship, whatever. So it's not that I'm averse to it, but I just don't have any plans to do that. And really, even if I had the money, which is kind of the issue, but even if I had the money, I wouldn't have any place to put it. So what are you gonna do? Okay. Little paint blobs in there that are drying in the tip. Okay, a little more of that. Now I'm gonna hit up these other 3 pieces, and then I'm gonna call it a night once I get these done. These should go really easy because these are big white. Actually, I'm gonna use a different brush for that. I'm gonna grab that one just because it's got more coverage at once. So since I'm not having to get into all the little details. Twice as many brushes to wash when I get there, but what are you gonna do? Okay. I'm only using this in these large in-between areas. When I get to places where it may actually get seen, I'll go back to that smaller brush just so I don't smear a bunch of goop where I don't want it. Oh, there's that blob. Okay, away. Now these, since these will fall down and these will be witnessed by the players, I definitely want to get these all gray and stony so that there's more immersion on the table. So that is why I'm painting all these little places that look like they'll be under, and they will most of the time, and then they won't. Then it's a problem. Okay, so foam is drinking that paint. That's craziness. Okay, another little one of those foam sprigs that will get in your way later if you don't tear them off. All right. Yeah, so water effects seem really fun. I have seen them used to great effect. I kind of want them in my sewers. I don't know how. I have a sewer plan build coming out. I have no idea how I'm going to do that because I don't really have a way to do that. I think I may make them like one piece at a time and use a very thin layer of that syringe epoxy. All the big chunky bits of this painted. With a smaller brush in a minute. And that syringe epoxy is $1.25 at the $1.25 tree. So that'll be easy enough to get, and I can make it all look the same. I'll remember like how many drops of blue, how many drops of green, how many drops of brown, or whatever I put in to color it. Make myself little recipes. And then all my sewers will look coherent because I would hate for my sewers to not all have the same color poop. And I could do those with tissue paper in the sewers as well. Those of you who don't know, you can glue down tissue paper and as like a paper mache almost. And while you're doing it, you can kind of mush it into little wave shapes with your brush, like I'm doing here with the tip of your brush going like that. And it makes little ripples and such. And then let it dry and then go back over it with a dry brush and just hit just the very tips. And it looks like little waves, though I don't know how many waves there really are in a sewer. I used to be a weird kid and would do things like sneak into sewer drains and go explore in them when I was, a bit younger. But I never really paid that much attention to ripples in, the deposits, so to speak. Oh. I may or may not put ripples in my sewer. I probably will just for visual look. I mean, if your players are looking at it, you don't want it just looking like flat, still brown water, brownish, green, brackish, whatever the word is. Water. Yeah, I've seen that. I just don't have any of the clear silicone. I do have some of the white silicone, so that won't work. But yeah, and I have a space for that. That can go on my glue shelf. I've got room for that. So I might do some clear silicone stuff. I literally just never think about it when I'm at the hardware store. Even when I'm thinking about crafting supplies rather than like tool supplies, I just never remember to get silicone. I don't know why. But I do have to go to that department anyway because I have recently found out that even though I have been and I have looked, apparently I was looking in the wrong spot. Apparently there is super glue accelerant at Lowe's. So next time I am there, which happens far more than I'd like, but next time I'm there, I will take a look for silicone if I remember. Again, that's a big if. So yeah. As I said, this bridge is basically done. I've got some stuff, some glue that's drying, and then I've got to go back in and retouch all of the areas that I've now exposed by making this into a tumble-down bridge, like I'm doing here. That is exactly what I'm doing right this second. Now, this is not the final coat. These will have some like highlights and some other colors tossed in just to make it look more like the original stone from the bridge. There was something to follow. I don't remember what it was. So, other than that, I am basically done with this build. Or it's actually not a build, it's a rebuild, this redo. So I hope that this has been an interesting 3 weeks. Now, last week, I had an unexpected error. Like my internet dropped immediately. Like there was no warning, no nothing, just gone. But it came back on in a few seconds. That's good. The week before that, I still hadn't gotten the previous week fixed, which I'll get to in a second. So there was no video that week. I'm leading to somewhere with this. So the first week there was I was having problems connection. The problem is I've got Wi-Fi in a basement and it's never the best. Plus it's with a certain company who I don't like enough to actually say their name because I don't want to give them a shout out. And they suck. And so, but we figured out what was going on with my Wi-Fi. Now that first week that I did this, I had it drop out with a warning. It said, warning, you got bad thing. There's not really anything to do about it except go, okay, is it going to drop or not? But it did come back and I started over again. Or not started over, started the second part. And then that one dropped out and just wouldn't reconnect. So last week and the week 2 weeks before are a little weird because both of those videos are in 2 parts and they are both incomplete. But this is the completion. That's where I was going with. This is the final part of this bridge. I will not be doing this bridge next week. So if you want to see this bridge again or see some pictures of this again, check out Carl making stuff on his Discord because he's got that challenge coming up for Don't Make It Weird. And so a tumbling down bridge is not weird. That's a thing bridges sometimes do. So this will be in that challenge next week as well. So if you want to see some close-up pictures of that, you can just go to my Discord and I'll post them there. But I'm also going to be posting them to Carl's. Basically, this is a long roundabout way for me to shout out to Carl as well. Lisa, that's Dungeon Matron. That's one of my patrons who was and probably still is watching this. Is going to be submitting things as well. She likes to tell you that she just tosses stuff together and it doesn't look all that great, but her builds are friggin' amazing. So she's going to have at least one submission there. She's glad that she's got another 2 weeks to get that done. So she must be working on something pretty grandiose if she was sweating the time. But if you get a chance, like I said, go to my Discord, then message me and ask, or just ask in open channel for a Discord to a link to Dungeon Matron's Discord, and I will give you that, and you can go take a look at stuff she's built, because, oh my gosh, some of her stuff is just absolutely astounding. She's got a moving lighthouse in one build. She's got a Halloween-y build where there's a mirror that you can see in the mirror, and then when the light goes out and the LED comes on behind it, there's something else in the mirror. It's creepy and weird. Just amazing builds. So yeah, get a chance to go check out Lisa's stuff. That'd be cool. Get a chance to go check out Carl's stuff and all the other people who submit to Lisa and Carl's Discords. That'd be cool. But of course, shameless plug for my own Discord. Please come over there and hang out. I would love to see and talk to any of y'all. And yeah, hopefully this Wi-Fi thing will out now. Like I said, like I was telling John earlier, with the plumbing situated now, I should be getting back into actual videos so that you don't have to catch me live. And got several of those lined up. We can talk about those. Any build I've ever done ever, any build I'm ever going to do ever, we can talk about on my Discord. So come over to my Discord. Link for that is down in the doobly-doo in the down below. Yeah, but for right now, I am painting myself. No, I'm touching up the edges where I had to cut things free on this so that it'll still look like stone after it tumbles down and won't just look like foam. And I'm almost done with that. And when I get done with at least this base coat on it, I'm going to call that a night. But for right now, I am still edge painting with base coat. If you have never been here before, welcome. I am so glad you're watching. I hope I have not been incredibly boring. And my goal is to inspire. Everything I build is how not how you should. So feel free to go, that's dumb. I wouldn't do it that way. Cool. I want to hear how you do it. Sometimes I've had things that are dumb and I've been like, I picked up the way other people have done it. Been like, okay, I can change. I'm not set in my ways. But yeah. If you've been here before and this is not your first time, you are now already one of my campaigners. So welcome. I love all of you, whether you are new or old. And except for that gnat that just flew across in front of my face, he can go away. The joys of working in a basement. So, where was I before the bug bugged me? All right, if you're new or old, I am super duper glad to have you here, and I appreciate it. And I hope I inspire you to go out and build your own stuff. This stuff is not complex. It is repetitive, and it sometimes requires a little bit of knowledge, but I'm hoping to give you that knowledge and then send you on your way to go do whatever. And if you go, well, I tried it the way you did it, but then this thing occurred to me and I did it that way. Cool. I want to hear that. Okay. Anybody see any little white flecks on this? No, we're good. Okay. Good. Oh, there's a little bit of touch up needed there. Okay, we good on this one. There. Looking pretty tasty, pretty choice, pretty well to do. Okay. Paint in the holes, get that all covered up. Just make it look a little less like cardboard if when the piece falls down during gameplay. All right, I think we are good on that. That's those three. Let's check the main body again. Look at it from this angle, and from this angle, and from the top, just to make sure I didn't. Because originally I missed a spot. I had cut a spot right here, so I made sure to get that, but I'm just checking to make sure I didn't have anything else like that. It looks like I did a pretty good job on repainting this bottom part. Oh, there's a spot I could get into. Oh, running out of paint. There's that again. There we go. Not running out of paint, running out of paint on the brush. Oop, and just dragged it. Piece across the front. That's all right. It'll all get blended in later. Oh, there's a light spot. Cover that. But I like this crummy, beat up brush because I can go like split, and it doesn't look like paintbrush. It looks like chunk of stone. It doesn't. So old natty brushes, as long as the bristles are still flexible and you can still use them, they make great tools for stuff like this. So I tend to keep the brushes like a decade longer than people would, and then like a painter or somebody would. Okay, one last little divot in there and there. And I'm going to call that done for now until this paint's dry. I'm going to put those all on here so I don't paint on a thing. I'm going to take the one that I made from last time, or like years ago, and show you what I'm doing with this. Put these to the side. Okay. I'm just going to sit those there. Normally I would put those in water, but I'm going to go wash them in just a few minutes, so they'll be fine. Okay, so this is my first tumble-down bridge I made. It's basic bridge, goes between other parts on my game table. It fits with my roads, my things. I do want them wider. I shouldn't. This would be a pedestrian bridge, and I'm also going to make some that are 6 inches wide and things like that I haven't done yet. That's a whole different issue. I have videos about these in my main videos, not my lives videos, my regular videos. But here's what happens. If your character or creature is approaching this way and having to get across here, it may not be stable enough to support them, or it may support them, but not support like the large ogre chasing them or whichever. So you can have, or if you just want if you're into the grimdark stuff and you just want stuff falling down, you can just do things like take out the one that's got the support beam, sit it there, take this one out, drop it down in there, take this one out, drop it down in there, and you've got a tumble-down bridge that looks like it broke. And that way, how are your characters going to get across? If you've got somebody who's really nimble-footed, they might jump to this brick or tile to this tile to this tile, or they may not be able to pass there at all. Or you might cut yours so that it's actually all the way across to the edge, and there's no way across, and they have to swing across, fly across, jump high and use a feather fall, whatever, get across. But that's what this is my tumble-down bridge. This is my older one. There's no difference between this greenish color and the gray color of the new one. I just painted them at different times, but they both, when I put them in my city with my other pieces of my city, they blend in seamlessly. You don't have to worry about that as long as you get a basic stone and or kind of mossy greenish stone color to it. It's all going to come together right. So again, these two fit together like a key and a lock. So that fits together like that little piece that holds it. And then both of those have a gap here, but that gap is supported by this pillar, by this piece here on the front. And so this supports those above it, holding them up, but they push on this and hold this in place. So together, you can make it look like a complete bridge with no damage done to it at all. And you can either play with it as just a bridge, or you can have that hazard thing and build that into your game adventure. And if you situate it just right, you can make it look like there's no damage to it at all. It's just a regular bridge, and it can be just a regular bridge. All right, so on that note, I'm going to double check some notes over here, see if anybody has been asking me any stuff. Small tube epoxy by the Gorilla Glue brand. It turns yellowish when it cures. Okay, yeah, don't want yellow water. That's, well, maybe for a sewer, I want yellow water. That'd be kind of gross, which is perfect for sewer. You could also use clear silicone for water effects. Yep, and I may do that because I can get that in the squeezy tube, and that way I don't ever have to worry. I always find that the caulk gun tubes are, I've never had a caulk gun that was delicate enough to only squirt out what I need, so, and not just come gooping out. So I have a preference for the squeeze tubes, the ones that have like the little hole on them so you can hang them up. I've used those with the white silicone, but I don't have any clear, but I'm going to be getting some of that. This has been very interesting. Thank you for sharing these. Yeah, absolutely. This is the kind of stuff that I absolutely love doing. It's one thing to build a bridge. That's super cool. It's another thing to teach people how they could build a bridge. That's super cool. But then to take the bridge and, oh, by the way, you can do this with it. That also adds to gameplay and immersion and feel and the whole lived in aspect of gaming that I love so much. So yeah, I absolutely love doing stuff like this. Watermill, nice. You're gonna have the water come from the top of the watermill, Lisa, and like it looks like it's spinning the water from above, or you're gonna have it from the flow of the river where it just spins in the water. Because either or were done historically, so. All right. Oh, I was showing stuff like you could see it because I had the wrong camera again. Let me do that again. This is what it looks like when, like I said, you can use it just as a bridge and just use it as a bridge, not have anything be weird about it at all. Or you can build into your gameplay that the bridge is crumbling down and you can have your players have to navigate that somehow. Or you can just have it set like that for diorama effect so that it just adds a little something to the overall look. Now, if you have Seb makes stuff. There's two crafters who do terrain crafting from Australia, and they are both named Seb. So there's one is Atma Seeker who does really cool stuff, but that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the other one who's named Seb Make Stuff. Seb Make Stuff has, I think it's him. I'm about a 95% sure it's him, where he has taken mesh that you might use for grass or greenery, and he takes that and sits it down and then sprinkles like little colored bits of flock on it so it looks like flowers. But then you can just pick up the sheet of the wildflowers and have it not be there. So you can set up your house and everything and they set the pieces out. If you had something like that or something similar done with vines, you could easily make a bridge like this or even a much bigger build with this bridge incorporated into it look old and decrepit, and you could have vines and greenery growing up and around it. Now, it already kind of looks like that on this one because it's got this greenish tint to it. But even with the grayer color that I tend to go with, you could also do that as well if you were creative in your plant placement. So, yeah, lots and lots and lots of pollen. The undershot water wheel, good, where it's just like it's flowing past the river, flowing past it. That's very cool, Lisa. I'm looking forward to seeing that build. So, yeah, that's it for now. This is, I normally try to cut it off between an hour and a half. We're at an hour and 18 minutes. This week, the internet hasn't dropped out and sent y'all off to second viewing or whatever, so that's an improvement. Still haven't even finished my tea. It's not much of a tea glass, yeah, but it won't break when I drop it on the concrete floor. All right, so I worked on the lighting this week. Hope it looks better this way. I worked on I got that piece glued where all those papers were coming loose, so this was ready to go. So sometimes you just have to do your little touch-ups and wait for glues to dry and stuff like that. I've created another knockdown bridge to be like this knockdown bridge. Keep calling it different stuff. Everything. Tumble-Down, I think, is my favorite. I've told you about my boom. Boom is always part PVA, part acrylic paint, and maybe part water. But the easiest way to get that is just go buy what we in America would call latex indoor house paint. In England, they would call it indoor emulsion. And it's already, I don't know if the British stuff does, but the American stuff has PVA in it already. PVA is the white glue. That's just your basic white glue. So any PVA glue, your Elmer's, your Wood Bonds, etc., those are basic white glues. There's also the tacky glue, which has less moisture in it. That's still a PVA. So that is really good for gluing. It is also good for really good for making paints bond to surfaces. So the cheap way for your version of boom or base coat is just go buy the acrylic paint in your color. Now, as I said earlier, I never base in black, so all mine is green or brown. Or my greens and browns I mix up myself because I never use that much of it. But the gray, I go through gallons of gray. So it's cheaper per ounce to just go buy the color you want. If you want black, the base in black, fine. But in that way, you don't have to worry about putting Mod Podge in it. You don't have to worry about putting Elmer's in it. You don't have to worry about any of that because the PVA is already in it. I tend to buy the darkest gray I can get because even the darkest gray I can find is still noticeably not black. So for me, that works. Yeah. Did I give any other tips this week? Yes. Long, low, slow cuts with knives. Don't rush it. Take the time. Do what you need to do. There are different blades. They are for different things. Use them for different things. Don't use the one blade for do everything. Use what you need. And the other tip I gave is if you need to get like touch-ups and stuff, and that's all you're doing, and especially if you're having to get in like little nitpicky holes and things, use a ratty, nasty brush that has been beat up, because you're not going to be upset if you beat it up further. Yeah, that's everything. Okay. As I said before, if this is your first time, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I hope it didn't bore you. And please, please, please come on back. Speaking of coming back, if this is not your first time and you've been here before, you are now one of my campaigners, and I'm glad that you are here. No matter if you're new or old or seeing this 20 years from now, it doesn't matter. I love crafting. I love gaming. I love all of it that goes with it. So I love all of you. That's it for this week. This is Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. This is my basement. And yeah, until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, whether that's on the table or in real life. Have a good night.